SNAP benefits being cut, health insurance premiums about to go through the roof, your rent going up, your pay stagnating, groceries just being astronomical, is because reparations were never paid after the Civil War.
But imagine how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it.
Did y'all see the video with the white man asking black people to step up and save America? Excuse me, sir. Didn't we try to sound the alarm and tell y'all that the competition that happened in November of last year, if you voted for the wrong person, what was going to happen?
Child, people love that same tired line. Get off government assistance and work harder. But let me tell you something. Child, those very benefits came from the mess that this country created from the beginning. If we didn't have a few people at the top, hoarding all the wealth, manipulating wages, inflating housing, exploiting labor, there wouldn't even be a need for SNAP, Social Security, or Medicaid. Just a quick crash course. SNAP, the S stands for supplemental. It's meant to fill in the gap. You can't fill in the gap. The size of the damn Grand Canyon, $15 an hour, and you still can't afford rent, food, and health care. And child, a one-bedroom apartment that used to be $800 is now $1,600. And groceries went up 25% since the pandemic, while CEOs made record profits. So when ignorant folks ask, what do you do with your October benefits? Like people supposed to save their EBT card. Baby, how you stock up when you don't even have enough to begin with? Child, and let's be clear. The face that they show when they talk about welfare, government assistance, is black. Baby, they've been running that lie for decades. But we know the truth. The majority of people on SNAP, Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, baby, they don't look like me and you. White folks are the biggest beneficiaries of every single one of these programs. So when you hear people saying they're taking our benefits, baby, who is they? Because it's been their community getting a lion's share of it all. Black and brown folks been getting the crumbs, while white America silently has been collecting the whole pie. So this isn't about laziness. It sounds good. It's about survival in a system that's been rigged since day one. And now white folks realizing the system don't love you either, baby. I don't know why we keep trying to humanize these monsters. And they keep showing us who they really are. Anyone who can smile while people can't eat. Anyone who cheers when people lose access to health care. Baby, that's not leadership. That's evil in a suit. So no, the math ain't mathing. Greed is. So black people, drink your water. Stay rooted, real, and knowledgeable. And mind your black business. Happy Black History 365. And I'll see you next time.
Too many privileged white people are coming here on this app and they're talking about people that benefit from food stamps, which most of them happen to be white. Most of them happen to live in Republican states, red state. Now, don't blame the Democrats because this is absolutely Trump's doing. He can fund it if he wanted to. He's funding ICE. He's sending $40 billion to Argentina. Why are you not mad with him? The only thing the Democrats want to do is make sure that you have affordable health care and people are getting their notice. So not only you're not going to have your food stamps until the government is back in order, but you're going to have a big freaking healthcare bill coming January. And before you start coming over here complaining about the Democrats, I need you to go to the videos in which people are crying, teachers, healthcare professionals, in which their insurance has doubled or even tripled. Good luck on trying to get food and trying to stay healthy. I'm not sure how long this is going to last, but this is the frustration that we have with you, a lot of MAGA people, because you guys still in your due diligence and reading Project 2025, in which they are trying to destabilize the government and that they want to do away with all the safety net. Why? Because it caused chaos. But I'm going to tell you who's going to be just fine. It's going to be the black and brown people because we have always been resilient. How about you go to your legislator and tell them how much your insurance premium is going up? Or how about you tell your legislator you want me to have children, you want me to raise children, but you don't want to give me money to feed these children. Stop telling women what to do with their body if you're not going to help them in the end. Anyway, my recommendation for you is to download the app called 5, call your legislators, call your senator. Just want you to know that the Republicans will not negotiate with the Democrats. And this is why they're doing this.
Every economic problem that we're facing in this country right now, student loan debt being just out of control, the government shutdown, SNAP benefits being cut, health insurance premiums about to go through the roof, your rent going up, your pay stagnating, groceries just being astronomical, is because reparations were never paid after the Civil War. Let me explain. After the Civil War, the Union, the North won and the South was defeated, but the South was never punished. The Confederacy lived on in the ideology of the people, of the white people of the South. Reparations were never paid to Black Americans. They were never really truly given the opportunity to pick themselves up by their bootstraps, to rise up and become equal members of this country, equal citizens. They've been fighting for their equality since then. They've never actually truly achieved it. So when white people hear a promise from Donald Trump et al. That we're gonna run the country like a business, to them that sounds appealing. They're like, oh yeah, because you know what? I'm a business owner. I own this country because I'm white. When Black and brown people hear, well, we're gonna run the country, run the government like a business, they understand what that means, because they've been dealing with it for centuries. White people think that they are on the side of the owners, the masters, but they're not. Most white people have more in common with the Black and brown people that they look down upon. They are closer to them in the economic tax bracket than they are to the white billionaires whose asses they kiss. But listen to them glazing billionaires, especially on this app. I make $50,000 a year, but I have more in common with Jeff Bezos than I do with George Floyd. Bullshit! The only reason the lie of let's run this country like a business appealed to you is because you thought you would benefit. And now here you are. Now here you are understanding that when they say we're going to run this country like a business, that means they're going to profit off of your ass. That means that if you take $100,000 loan out to go to college, you will be in debt to the federal government until the day you fucking die. You borrowed 100 grand, prepare to repay 300 grand. Because they're running the government like a business now. And guess what? You're a customer, not an owner. The government exists to serve us, not to profit off of us. And we will continue to have these problems until y'all get your fucking minds right.
See, y'all love to come on this app and be racist and be colorist and call Black people the EBC community and sit here and say that Hispanic people are taking y'all government assistance and da-da-da-da. It takes 2 seconds to do a Google search and be educated. Not only can you go look up the list for government assistance, you can go look up the demographics for who is on that list. And if y'all look right here, what does that say? Whites. How much do y'all make up on government assistance? Again, it takes 2 seconds to educate yourself. And coming from somebody who has high-paying clients with my business, 90% of my high-paying clients are Black. They have their own businesses doing all of that without business loans because they can't get them half of the times. So they have to rely on their own community, and 90% of the time they figure something out.
Government assistance was made for white people. The fact that the programs are made in like 1935, like in the 1930s, says it all right there, given the fact that Black people were not even considered people under the law at that time. But I've really been doing some more research and reading, and I read an article and they were talking about how like up until like the 60s or 70s, Black people really could not qualify for government assistance. And that is absolutely disheartening, being that now it hasn't even been 100 years later that Black people are now the face of all racial stereotypes regarding government assistance in Section 8. Meanwhile, these same programs were never even made for us. Meanwhile, Black people had to jump through hoops to get qualified. Meanwhile, people talk about Black fathers not being in the home, and these same government institutions were not wanting the men to be there. Like, what the fuck?
White people, you know I love y'all to death, but I got to get something straight with y'all right now. It's been brought to my attention several times, that for whatever reason, y'all think that black people are the ones that's been using all the welfare benefits. No, sweetie. Out of all the demographics in the world, white people are the ones who have been using welfare the most. And by the way, it's been that way for years. It's not black people. It's white people. Y'all are the ones that's on welfare. Believe it or not. Like, as of now, I think it's probably like 36% or something like that of white people on welfare to like 26% or 25% of black people. And there's nothing wrong with that. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But just get your facts straight. I know it's hard to believe, and I know it's hard to receive, but it's y'all that are getting all the benefits. It's y'all that's on welfare. It's not the black folks. It's not the Hispanic folks. It's no other culture other than y'all. And again, that's okay, but accept that. It's okay. It's okay. Along with, you know what I'm saying, everything else that y'all have, y'all also have the most people on welfare. So sleep on that tonight. Oh, and I almost forgot. Love ya.
Finally, you get to see the true America. The stipulation has always been that black people are lazy, that black people are on welfare. Well, guess what? A lot of poor white people in the red states are now crying that they're not getting the EBT money from the EBT cards. Why? Because they are on welfare. They have 7 and 8 kids. Now the truth is coming out since Trump has slashed funding for the EBT and the SNAP programs. You see how many white people now are on welfare. So all this mythical stuff about black people being on welfare, oh, it's the blacks, it's the blacks, it's the blacks. Now you've seen the real America, that it's not only black people on welfare, that there are a lot of white people on welfare also. There are a lot of white people, a lot of poor people living in those red states, and those red states that voted for Trump are now getting hit.
Okay, so like, do any other poor people feel this way, right? Like, I'm planning again for my monthly budget, or like, it usually ends up being a yearly budget, and I just overwhelm myself. Every single month I do this. And my car insurance went up, and that's like, it went up by like $200, which for me is a lot. And I don't know why I do this to myself, where like, I feel like setting goals a year, 2, 3 years down the line is just so, like, I need to do it now. Like, I have to find a way to do it now. If I can't do it now, it's never going to get done. Like, I'm never going to realize this goal. Like, I need to get a driveway. I need to do this. I need blah, blah, blah. But that's like, but it makes me so stressed out when I think of things that way. And also, like, if you came to me and you're like, hey, you only have like 3 more years left to live, like, do with that what you will, I wouldn't be stressing out about these things that I'm stressing out about. Like, I wouldn't be stressing out about the fact that, like, I need to paint my barn, and I need to put up a fence, and I need to, like, you know, it's, I don't know. So I don't know, like, what my priorities should be. And then because of that, I feel like my priorities are split between be happy and pay off your credit card debt, you know? And I don't know what the right choice is, because everyone's like, oh, clearly you need to pay off your credit card debt. But, like, also, like, I would like to leave the country one time. Like, I would like to leave the continental United States. So that's, just let me know if that's how you guys, if anyone else feels this way, because and then, like, I'll watch people who do, like, low, like, gross annual income budgeting, and this is a completely other tangent, and they started, like, $4,000 a month, and I was like, if I made $4,000 a month, I wouldn't be having this problem. So
And let me take this time to renew my hatred for Bernie Sanders, who came on Twitter saying that this is about the Democrats leaving the working class. The Democrats never left the working class. Working class white people got upset and went to the Republican Party, where they could be openly racist and angry and blame everybody except for the billionaires whose pockets they are fattening and whose power they are giving theirs to. And if we, as a party and as a culture on the left, are not going to ever talk about racism and white people's problems with non-white people having access to the same types of benefits that they have, so that if we happen to do better than them, that they don't panic and freak out and think somebody's taking something away from them, that they accept that it was on our own merit and our own terms because we had the same chance as them, we're not going to get anywhere. What you guys are talking about is courting racists back into our party, while the base of your party is black people, the only people who show up for you every single time. And you are telling us that the reason these other people are not showing up is because they're worried about the economy. Yes, they are, but their worry about the economy is rooted in racist beliefs and talking points that are being perpetuated by the other side. And it's a religious dogma type of propaganda that they're putting out here. And we can't combat that with facts. These people religiously believe these things. We can't logically talk them out of it. And continuously placing the blame on economic anxiety and not getting down to the root of that and where it is coming from is so disingenuous and so frustrating. And that's why I will not support Bernie Sanders, because he keeps trying to act like this is a dollars and cents issue. It's not. Dollars and cents are part of it, but racism and sexism and all the phobias are also tied into it. This is about straight white men struggling to grasp onto power, white women backing them up because they associate them with that power, and other marginalized groups feeling like if they can get close to that power by also supporting them, that they can have that same success, which is ironically what the people on that side do not want them to have.
So I'm not really sure how I made it over to the white men crying on video about their finances side of TikTok, but I was over there for a little bit, and at first I was like laughing because it's like FAFO, right? Because like y'all voted for this and now it's affecting you. But then I started to think, like, these are normally the people that and so to see them online in this much disarray where they're on video crying in full tears about their finances and how mad they are, y'all be safe out here.
Hi, today's a conversation about white people comparing this epidemic to the Great Depression. Now, they're talking about we're getting government handouts and how they're tired of it and everything. We all know that Roosevelt implemented the Federal Emergency Relief Act May 12th of 1933. No black person got assistance then. I can promise you that. We weren't even considered people. So how can you complain about something like this? I'm confused. How is this anything like the Great Depression? Y'all make up an excuse for anything because y'all just see minorities on handouts and you just assume this. The white people that don't know. There are generations of white families that have been on public assistance since it started. So never think that it's only minorities. White people get food stamps. They get Medicaid. They get assistance all the time. They're the first to receive it. But it's a problem. Minorities get it. Could someone answer that for me?
The white people in USA, they are suffering. They are crying all over social media, stating that their life has become very expensive and unbearable. They are begging the black people to intervene so that they can remove this regime. They thought that voting for Trump, everything will be good and it will be best for them. According to these people, black people are the one who are supposed to suffer. They are stating that black people, they suffer because of their skin. And right now, they are the ones suffering in their own country. They're saying that they cannot even afford food. They cannot cannot even afford gas. They're saying that they even think that Trump is after them, that Trump want to finish all of them. They're saying that Trump was supposed to make America great again, but right now it's worse because of the VAT, because of the tariffs. It has increased taxation, and a lot of people cannot even afford food. They're saying that they are regretting voting for Trump, and they want everyone to intervene, to come together and remove this regime. To be honest, I don't think the black people, they are going to join there because they want them not to vote for Trump, but they did not listen.
Historically speaking, white people have always been adverse to manual labor. They have always found some way to source out their labor, whether it be tilling the lands, farming their food, mining the mines, the railroads. Now, in the age of manufacturing, it's all of their products, right? And the Chinese have been able to take advantage of this aversion. They've built their whole economy around it, in fact. It's actually funny because it's like a two-step mental process, because in white people's justification that they aren't made for manual labor, they've created a whole economy around servicing where they don't have to do manual labor, and then convince the entire world that people who do manual labor are less valuable. By service providing, I mean all the computer, hello, how are you doing type shit, right? The email drafting and basically the corporate bourgeoisie world, right? And that's really just the slave versus the overseer mindset, right? Someone does all the work and then you have someone manage the workers. That's basically what white supremacy is. Racism has always just been their justification for not wanting to be laborers. And the job market, the corporate world, the college educated, all of that is used to justify their aversion to labor. So here we are 159 years later, which is when slavery ended. We've established an entire economy around managing laborers. We source everything in America because of white people's aversion to labor, and then we slap logos on it, slap all this mental cognitive. Everything that white people have created is jumping mental loops to justify the fact that they do not labor at all. There's no difference in these products. They're all made in China, right? The only difference is they create this sense of branding and comfort around imaging and all of these things to get you to have the mental cognitive to buy the branding, because the products are all the same, because they're all made at the same factory. Everything about white supremacy is just jumping through mental loops to make you forget the fact that they do not make anything, that they are not laborers, that they refuse to do work, right? So that we will continue to spend money and work for them. The economy in America thrives off of all of this mental manipulation, because the truth of the matter is we do not make anything. We just manage everything. We manage our image. We manage the propaganda about who we are to the rest of the world, about what it is that white people actually do for jobs in America. It's all mental manipulation. We're a country of narcissists.
The wholesale price index came in 3 times higher than expected, and this is bad news for a Trump economy. See, it was only expected to rise 0.3%. Instead, it rose 0.9%, which set off alarm bells across all major markets. And we see the Dow Jones is down today. We see the S&P 500 is down today, and other markets are trending down. Now, this might not seem like a huge deal, a 0.6% difference, but for the year to date, it's up 2.2%, which is the largest annual jump since 2022. And this is the largest single month jump since February. The Trump economy is in trouble. You have consumer spending down. You have consumer luxury item spending down. Consumer travel down. Las Vegas is throwing out concerns that they're seeing lower numbers of individuals coming to the city, which is always a sign for some sort of recession or economic pullback. We'll see what actually happens, but so far, it's not looking good.
full disclosure, clearly I am a white, non-Indigenous person, but the level of hypocrisy, I think is the word for it, amongst my peers. So, give an example. So there's a homeless epidemic Australia-wide. Brisbane's no different, but councils here, and I think other places as well, are evicting homeless people from parks because the local residents are complaining. Like, they don't like homeless people in their area because they see it's their land, right? They're the ratepayers, so they have every right to complain because, well, they're ratepayers and they own the land. And yes, that's true. Legally, they do have a title deed which says they own the land. And yes, they do pay rates, but that land was never sold to them by Indigenous people. It was stolen. And our very own laws say that anyone in receipt of stolen property has to give it back, whether you paid good money for it or not. So the hypocrisy of residents and ratepayers saying that it's their land and they should be able to complain because it's their land. Don't really need to say any more about that. But I think maybe it stems from the entitlement that is inherent amongst white people like me, where because we are entitled, because we think because our system is superior to any Indigenous system of law that existed, that we are the rightful owners, when in fact we're not. And there's a big difference between what's legal and what's ethical. And it's not ethical for any of us to claim ownership of any land here, and therefore to in any way have want anything to be done about homeless people on that same land. It's as much a homeless person's land as it is a rate holder's piece of land.
So I posted about white folks on food stamps, and one thing I kept seeing was that welfare was created for white people. I knew that it was created during the New Deal, so I did some more research because I didn't really know the whole story, and I thank you guys for responding and helping me learn stuff. So during the Great Depression is when we saw the beginning of things like Social Security, unemployment insurance. But here's the kicker. When Franklin Roosevelt built those programs, he had to make deals with Southern Democrats in Congress, the same folks who were big fans of Jim Crow, to get the support of these racist white Southern politicians. The programs were designed to exclude farm workers, domestic workers, jobs held overwhelmingly by Black, Latino, and Indigenous people. So right from the start, Black and brown families were pushed out of benefits so that white people could get them. Then we move forward to the 1960s, and there's this war on poverty. It finally opened up welfare programs more broadly, and that's when food stamps became permanent. Well, permanent, we don't know what Trump's going to do to them, but they lasted a long time. And guess what? The minute more Black and brown families started accessing this help, the politics shifted. Welfare got a new image and a new target. By the 1980s and 90s, with Ronald Reagan and his gang, they pushed the welfare queen myth. That's a racist dog whistle meant to turn public opinion against safety nets by blaming Black women for poverty that white policies created. That's the truth, you guys. So yes, welfare was built for white people, and when others finally got in the door, they tried to burn the house down. If you want to blame the right people, you got to get curious.
We do understand that the white people are going through a lot
in this period, in this time and period. That is not to mean that the black community is not going through anything. What simply this means is that they are in shock, you know, they are not used to what they are seeing, and the things that are happening to them are strange. Unlike for black people, these things have been happening forever. It's their life, it's their lifestyle. That is how they have grown up. That is how they have been raised. They have seen their parents going through the same things. So it's not getting them as a shock when they are having hard times economically. Yeah. Now, why am I even saying this? Because people, and white people to be precise, are coming out in large numbers, men and women, complaining that the economy is bad for them, and they are always finding a way to insert a case for black people in their talk. So they keep saying, and this is exactly what they think. They think that black people are beneficiaries of the welfare, the US welfare. The reason why they are saying that is because in their minds, in their heads, they have been thinking for a very long time that black people are not complaining. They're not on the streets, they're not crying, they're not making videos in tears because they are benefiting from the welfare. Now, black people have had this, and they have been shocked as well, because they are almost unsure which kind of black people are you talking about, because if it is the black people that are living in America, the black Americans, the natives, no, they are not the ones that are beneficiaries of the welfare. In any case, there is many white people that have been receiving welfare. And that's why, for example, this justifies it, that it's the reason why they have not been joining the black community while they are all over the place trying to, you know, talk about these things, complain about these things to the government, to ensure that there is a change, at least to some of these things. They have been taking the back seat. They have not been on the streets. They have not been crying. They have not been talking about it. They have generally been okay all this time. Now, when it's hitting them right now that they cannot even afford to budget for whatever they need in their lives, it is coming to their attention that they actually think, you know, this is a kind of trying to make yourself feel a little bit better, you know, trying to motivate yourself, because they have always labeled the black community as very lazy, people that do not have a vision, and they're just, you know, very lazy, eternally lazy, born and bred lazy. Yeah, all they care about is evil, violence, and such things. So now it's getting them as a shock when black people are coming out to say, you know what, hold on, we are not the beneficiaries of that. We do not get welfare. If we do, it is just a very insignificant number of us, and most of the black people do not have access to those things. Most black people do not even have access for loans, you know. They cannot even make their lives better by taking, for example, a loan and doing something. They're not trusted that much. They're not given such opportunities to build them. So you coming out there and saying and trying to blame them and trying to make it look like they're having it better, like they're having it smoother than you are, simply because you think that they take welfare and food stamps and all those things, is crazy. Now, the black community have come out to explain whatever is happening. It is one thing, and we have talked about this many times, and it's actually the truth, that the white community, the white people, they have not been having these experiences. They do not know half the things that the black community go through. And even when the black people talk about it, nobody listens, because they think it is a joke. They think it's some kind of comedy. They think it's some kind of made up things, because, you know, they keep labeling black people as people that just like to complain, just like talking and aimlessly talking. Now that it's hitting them in all the wrong places, they are unsure of what to do, and instead of trying to talk about it in a good way, they're trying to make it look like, they're just making excuses for themselves. Black people have been surviving on that. They have been surviving on earning peanuts for a very long time. They know how to manage their money. They know how to manage themselves, and that's how they have been surviving all this time. So it would be a good time to make some friends and learn a few tips. Yeah. And instead of going out there and trying to rant and blame them, you might as well try to learn from them, because it is time that you just have to. Nobody's listening to you, clearly. Nobody cares what you think. Nobody cares what you're going through. And it's going to be that for a very long time. And that is what the Black community has been going through. Nobody listens to them. Nobody cares what they're saying. Nobody acts on their interests. It's always blame game. You're going through that because you talk too much. You're going through that because you're lazy. You're going through 1, 2, 3 things because you don't listen. It must be so hard being on the other side. It must be so hard to be told to pull yourselves with your own bootstraps. Must be so hard. But you see, sometimes it's very important that you let these people encounter these things for themselves. Let them learn from experience. Let them experience it firsthand, so that when there will be a next time, if they will be relating to what you're saying. Because when you keep explaining the same things over and over to someone, and they're dedicated to not understanding you, they're dedicated to not even listening to you, paying no ear, the best thing therefore to do is let them experience it firsthand, so that the next time you talk, they will listen. The next time you say something, they will take it seriously and they will act on it. Yeah. So before I finish my commentary, there are people that have been sending me mails asking that they would like to understand racism and how the Black community has been surviving all this time, and the things that they have had to go through all this time to be where they are. And they asked for what they can do. I recommended a few things, and they are books that they can watch, they can read, maybe watch somewhere if you can, but preferably read them. And I'll just read some of them, and if you have any that you think are very useful for someone that is interested in learning what it feels like to be on the other side of discrimination, you might want to also share in the comment section, so that we help our people from the other races who want to understand this topic, this issue, so that when they listen to these videos, they will be less judgmental. They will be paying attention to what we're saying, because I have been seeing a lot of comments of people talking about, and I presume they are white people that are just ignorant, They do not even want Black people to talk. They don't want this kind of knowledge to reach as far as possible. Yeah. There's someone that actually said in the comment section that they are unable to share my videos. One of my videos, I can't remember which one, but they said in the comment section that they are unable to share the video because they're not even allowed to. I don't know how true that is, but I hope that it is not. So if you want to be educated and stop speaking and thinking from a point of ignorance on this issue of racism, you might consider getting the book The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein. You might also consider getting Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe, The Black Skin, White Masks by Franz Fanon, Mega and Miley, John Ann Reid, I Am Not Our Negro by James Baldwin, and many other books. Now, you will get a lot of recommendation from the comment section as well. Other books that you might consider reading, and these are narratives and stories that have been written to explain the Black experience. For example, an author that is one of my favorites, and I have done a video on her before, Toni Morrison, and you might consider The Bluest Eyes. Richard Wright is also another good author on that. Frederick Douglass, you might want to read his book. Ralph Ellison as well. Maya Angelou, and there are many others. These are people that have dedicated their time to writing about the experiences of a Black person in America. And most of these times when you read these books, you get to learn these things. You know, for example, some of you might be wondering how for example, I'm interested in such matters while I am African and living in Kenya, you know. You might be wondering how I got even interested in such things. It is reading such books. You read these things, and in school, by the way, and you get to understand what really is happening on the other side of the world, and it strikes you that there's a lot of other things that you never even could have imagined before. You know, initially you would think maybe people have problems in this world about health, they have problems about money, you know, just making money, and that's all. You would never really think, especially if you're not coming from a place where you experience such things as racism or being discriminated for whatever reason, you don't easily think in those lines. But once you read these kind of texts and you analyze them and you listen to the interviews, watch the interviews when these authors are being questioned, asked about their experiences and why they wrote the books the way they did, why their characters are Black, why their characters are not this and that, why their characters go through this and this, the growth, the journey, the success, you know. They explain all these things and you start understanding that there is this other part of life that I had no idea about. So for me, I think reading will help you understand more, and also consider being in the comment section for people to help you with more materials that can help you learn these things. And watch these videos as well. This is also a very good platform for you to learn things and learn with an open mind. Don't be judgmental, just learn with an open mind. Be ready to listen to learn, not to listen to respond. That is very important. So guys, I think that is it for today, and I hope that you're keeping well, keeping safe. I am also okay and happy to be here with you today. I think I'll see you in my next video, so bye for now.